Hey, what's up, YouTube fans? So what I wanted to talk about in this video, right, is this strange phenomenon of religion, right? So I think that even if you guys, for any of you that believe in a religion, you will still have to acknowledge, right, that human psychology works in a type of way in which humans have a tendency towards making up religions that are not true and then believing in religions, right? Human psychology works in that way. I think you'll have to acknowledge that even if you believe in a religion, because there's so many religions that are believed in by millions of people, if not billions of people, and they have contradictory ideas, meaning that they can't all be true, right? In a literal sense, right? They can't all be true, right? And so, even if you are convinced that this one is true or that one is, you'll still have to acknowledge, right, that human psychology, for whatever reason, works in a type of way where we have a tendency towards making up religions and believing in religions, and for many of these religions, they have their own holy book. This one has this book that says this and that happened, but then the other one, they have their holy book which says this and that happened, and they have their own buildings. I don't know how many of you that are Christian realize what Mormons believe, right? Most Christians don't believe in Mormonism, but there's a large percentage of people out there that do believe in Mormonism. Even some politicians believe in it, and they have their own churches and everything that they've built. They believe that Jesus made an appearance in more recent times, and in America, no less, right? And they have their own texts that say that that's true, right? So, like, for any of you that are, like, a Christian and you're saying to me, like, oh, how can you deny that Jesus did this and that things when the Bible says that he did? There's a religion called Mormonism that you most likely do not yourself believe, and they have all types of beliefs about that Jesus did various things that you would probably agree were just made up by people, right? Muslims, they believe that, Muhammad flew to heaven on a winged horse. In the case of Hindus, they believe that there are many gods, whereas Christians and Muslims believe that there's one God. So even if you're convinced that, this one is true or that one is true, you would have to acknowledge, right, that they can't all literally be true, right? So humans have a tendency psychologically towards making up religions and believing in religions, right? And not to mention that it's not just human psychology, but it's also, I would argue, having to do with childhood indoctrination and brainwashing in many cases, right? Because what you'll notice is that most people who are religious, not always, but generally, they'll tend to be the same religion as their parents, right? So if you have Muslim parents, then you most likely are a Muslim yourself, right? Or if you have Hindu parents, then you most likely are a Hindu. Or if you have Jewish parents, then you most likely are Jewish. If you have Christian parents, then you're most likely Christian. And then it even goes into, like, it's true of the specific sect of the religion, right? So, like, if you have Catholic parents, you're most likely Catholic. Whereas if you have Lutheran parents, you're most likely Lutheran, right? And this isn't a coincidence, right? It's showing that, for many people, rather than there being rational reasons behind why they are the religion they are, it has to do with that they were raised that way, right? And they had trouble letting it go, right? And in many cases, it even has to do with childhood brainwashing and indoctrination, right? Because for many religions, from a young age, they'll train the child's mind in such a way to try and stop them from ever questioning the religion. You know, they'll do this with ideas like hell, right? And they'll say, like, no matter how kind and generous of a person you are, you know, you could be the most kind, generous person, but if you don't believe that this religion is true, then when you die, you're gonna burn forever and ever, right? And they'll tell them this at a young age, right? Like, you know, not, pretty much as soon as they're old enough that they can understand language and know what people are saying to them. This is some of the first things that they're told, right? And they do this so as to train people's mind into having an inability to question the beliefs. You know, religions also tend to, you know, promote the idea of faith, right? And they'll say, like, that they'll try and encourage people to believe things when it isn't backed by evidence. You know, it's commonly reinforced, right, and promoted as a good thing in religion. And this is another way of how they try and reinforce people not questioning the beliefs they were raised with, right? So, just any doubts they have, just ignore it, push it away to the back of your mind, and don't think about it, right? And so this is a good reason then for why, we shouldn't just readily accept, any religious ideas just because there's like a book that, says that it happened, right? That shouldn't be enough to convince us that it's true, right? Because the fact of the matter is that human psychology works in a type of way where we tend to make up religions and believe in them, right? And, there's not just one holy book. The Christians, they have their holy book, but then, Muslims, they have their own book with, their own stories written down and everything. Same with, there's another holy book called the Bhagavad Gita. The Mormons, their beliefs are written down. So, all right, that's all for now. See you guys.